Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are reacting to the Eagles' win, if that's what you'd like to call it, over the Washington Commanders. The Eagles did end up winning this game 38-31. Should have been 38-24, but I digress on that. The Eagles, not a very good game for them until really the fourth quarter and late third. The Eagles were down for most of this game until A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were able to dominate the offensive side of the ball, and the defense not much better. Defensive line did show up a little bit in the second half, but not much in the first. The Eagles improved now to 7-1 on the season, but they do have to be better, so we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother, the Great Vlogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Run the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, and make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Run the Great Podcast. I'm out for do listening. Let's go right in the video and let's roll that intro. Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today, oh hell yeah! Oh, it's not that hard to understand if you know anything about football. Touchdown! A touchdown! Philly! And the Phillies walk it off! Alright, let's get right into the video. So starting off with the Eagles, their offense, and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Pretty good game for Jalen Hurts. I think it was a pretty great game for Jalen Hurts, if I'm going to be honest. We have to give him a lot of credit. The first quarter was not so good. The Eagles were not able to hold on to the ball for most of the time, but he was pretty good otherwise. Tying his career high in touchdown passes, over 300 yards. 76% of his passes were completed. Most of the balls were on the money. His reads have been bad in past weeks. This week was not the case. He played pretty well, especially finding A.J. Brown. A few of those passes probably shouldn't have been completed, but otherwise, A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers in the NFL, we'll talk about that in just a few moments, he was able to play very well. For our running backs, DeAndre Swift, I'm going to focus on much. Swift was not used much until the late third and fourth quarter, but he was getting positive yards on first down, which was my game plan coming in. He helped us move the ball, 3.6 yards per carry. I can definitely live with that. I feel like DeAndre Swift should be used a little bit more. Was able to get a touchdown that probably he should have kneeled on that one, like sat down, because then the Commanders ended up scoring with, the onside kick, always something scary as a fan. So, he probably shouldn't have been that selfish there. But gave me 6 fantasy points, so I'm definitely not complaining. But for our wide receivers, A.J. Brown, I swear to God, this man is not human, literally, because this man is just making catches that I don't even think that, some all-time receivers could make. That one-handed catch by him was just absolutely incredible. I don't know how he came down with that. I honestly thought that was going to be incomplete. Probably the best touchdown catch of the year, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to beat that. Every single time he was one-on-one, he was beating his corners. I don't think Forbes is good enough to guard A.J. Brown one-on-one, as we saw in the first game that A.J. Brown played against the the Commanders. Forbes was guarding him one-on-one, and Brown dominated him throughout the game there. But it was just too easy for A.J. Brown. They were playing the cushion coverage thing that I really don't like as a defensive back myself, but is what it is. He had a great game. Devontae Smith, another one who had every pass that was thrown to him completed. That touchdown pass was way too easy. Nobody was guarding him. Literally, nobody off the line of scrimmage was guarding him. All he had to do was run his little fade. He just had to jog there. Easy touchdown from him. But when we use him right, which is him running routes and not just, blocking and picking guys off for Goddard, I think he's definitely a really good receiver. 7 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. This guy could be one of the top 15, top 12 receivers in the NFL if we use him correctly. Instead, we're not using him correctly where he's not running routes. If the man just literally does his job, or the offensive coordinator lets him do his job, he can be one of the top receivers in the NFL. For some reason, we don't do that. Anyway, Julio Jones and Illuminati Zacchaeus. Julio, let's go, baby. He was able to split those safeties. Caught a very nice throw from Jalen Hurts. Good concentration, able to come down with it. Touchdown. Very glad to see the whole team was very hyped for him. I was really hyped for him. I was yelling his name. You would truly love to see Julio Jones back in action. Other than that, not really much happening for him, but that touchdown did prove to help us get our full momentum back into it. So I can definitely not complain about anything. Zacchaeus did nothing, and it pisses me off that we don't use him. Our tight end, Dallas Goedert. The Commanders did a good job defending him for the most part. But in the second half, when the Eagles were going to him in the flats off those RPOs, did a good job running up the field, running up the sideline, getting his catches. They were a big part on some of our drives for our offensive line. 2 sacks given up. Pretty much just Hurts sliding down when he really didn't have anywhere to run. I could definitely live with that. They did a good job protecting Hurts most of the time. Hurts, though, sometimes did have to avoid some sacks. I thought the effort by Suopeta was a little bad. I mean, I understand that he did get hurt, but some of the effort I thought could have been a little bit better there. A lot of this time went around did do a good job guarding Chase Young, but hopefully he's getting traded out of the division. Same with Montez Sweat and all those boys on the defensive line. Hopefully they're going away so we won't have to deal with them anymore. But, with our running game, I do understand that Swift only did get 3.6 yards per carry, as I mentioned earlier. But they could have been tired when it came around to the fourth quarter. This Washington defensive line was driving out our tackles, Mailata and Johnson, pretty well. That could have been it. Our defense and our defensive line. I don't know what the hell our problem is when it comes to getting to Sam Howell. I mean, only one sack. While the sack did prove to win us the game, or pretty much win us the game, other than that, we can't do anything. Reddick came up in the second half, I thought, pretty well. He did have a quarterback hit, which did force Sam Howell to throw the ball into the dirt, which was intentional grounding. Reddick, and once again, that strip sack did prove to ultimately pretty much having us win the game. But the run defense was not as good as it normally was. 5.9 yards per carry to Brian Robinson Jr. They didn't really run the ball much, but when they did run it, it was effective. They only ran the ball 16 times. If they would have ran it more, they could have potentially taken a lot more clock off, and they could have, handed the Eagles a loss in this game. Jalen Carter now out with a back injury. Hopefully he's okay, but we can't have that. I do understand Jordan Davis was injured, but we do have other guys that can run defend, like Fletcher Cox, Williams Street, guys like that. They can run defend pretty well, and we also have to get to Sam Howell. I mean, there's no excuse on why we can't get them. Josh Sweat's had a few good weeks. I don't understand what his problem was. Our linebackers. I thought Cunningham was pretty good in coverage. 2 pass deflections. The second one did cause, the end of the drive for the Commanders, if that's how you want to talk about it. 5 total tackles. Can't complain. He did really solid. N'Kobe Dean was pretty bad in coverage. He did give up a play. I believe Jonathan Dotson. Well, it might have been Crowder. I don't really remember, but it was a mismatch. Can't really blame him for that, but, he could potentially, get some help there. He could do a lot of things to help prevent that stuff. But he was tackling-wise, I thought he did pretty well when they did end up running the ball. And he did a good job tackling receivers, making sure they did not gain more than, 5-6 yards because the secondary was pretty bad. 12 total tackles. He had 11 solo tackles. Our corners, I don't know what the hell is going on with our secondary. I mean, they just straight up suck. Goodness gracious, the whole game, we knew... when I watched film on the Commanders, and when you watch film against the Eagles, against the Commanders, the guy off the ball, most of the time was Curtis Samuel, but he went down late with a toe injury. The guy off the ball, behind the stack, would get the ball. It didn't matter what route he was running, he was going to get the ball, yet we still couldn't cover it. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You know it's coming. Bradbury, I mean, goodness gracious, what the hell is going on? I want his contract, and I want to throw it out a damn window. He is not living up to what the money we've paid him. McLaurin, I mean, you gave him a 10-yard cushion the whole game, and you still give up a go-route touchdown. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I was pretty disappointed in Cindy Brown as well. I thought he would do pretty good in the slot corner. That was not his best performance, but it was his first time. Can't really put too much blame on him, but it could have been a little better. Our safeties. Blankenship gave him another Logan Thomas touchdown, and I said if that was going to happen, I was going to lose my mind. I definitely did lose my mind. For the interception, luckily he was in the right place in the right time. Hal did throw the ball behind his receiver. I believe it was McLaurin, but it doesn't really matter. Byard, he really didn't do much, so I can't be too upset. Our coaching, Brian Johnson just straight up sucks. I know I sound like I don't know anything when I say that, but he is so terrible. I don't know what his obsession with Kenneth Gainwell is. I'm not saying that Kenneth Gainwell is not a good running back. I've given Gainwell a lot of BS it's not BS, it's actually constructive criticism over the past couple of weeks. But when you are fumbling the football on the 3-yard line, and then the very next drive, your offensive coordinator continues to put you in the game, it really is not good. If it was a one-time mistake, then I could see that. I could see his logic behind it. But it was no logic. There have been so many times where Gainwell has messed up on the goal line. And just in general, he played better as a receiver. It was just bad. The screen calls I thought were bad. Some of the run designs I thought were pretty bad. Thank God I didn't do any draws with Jalen Hurts. That's the last thing we could have needed. Desai, he used some logic in his game plan. I mean, he didn't send the pass rush knowing that they were having a terrible day. Our bottom line, they can't keep doing this every game. I mean, they look absolutely terrible at times. The first half was pretty bad. Actually, it wasn't pretty bad. It was just straight up terrible. And we're going into Dallas next week, who just blew out the Rams. The Rams gave us a pretty good game. So if we look like that next week, we're going to get absolutely torched. I guarantee you. Unless something happens and we can turn it around, I can't see the Eagles really winning this game. But we'll have to see over the week. We'll see what the injuries are. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Lindy Vlogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Run the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Run the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.